Hi, it's David McClymont here from DHM Environmental Software Engineering. I'm going to briefly outline one of the new features in HowLeaky, being the ability to import DairyMOD simulation output and use the time series exploration tools in HowLeaky to explore that data. And secondly, to be able to link in that data into the cover model and the nitrate model. That is, with the cover model we can import time series for green cover, residue cover and root depth. So to import a DairyMOD file, what we need to do is go into our database, and we go down to the last option in the database called measured time series data, and there's an import button right down the bottom. If we click that, now I've got a DairyMOD file. It's actually been split into two here. I'm going to select the smaller second one. These are Excel files. They're in a binary format. You can't open them in a normal text editor, of course, but HowLeaky's got a library in to be able to read that data. You can actually have the file open while HowLeaky reads it, and it won't. Normally you get locked out when you try and do that, but HowLeaky's library is clever enough to be able to import it. So I already had a couple of files imported there. I've just imported another one. If we go into our time series view, here's 3 DairyMOD files, and it's the same one twice, and then we can go and select our time series and explore them. At the moment all of the time series come in as red. I might change that yet if you would like me to, and that's pretty much it. So having done that, we've now got the ability to link in any of these time series into the cover model now. I've actually created a new one. Right down the bottom there's one called residue cover generated, which is actually the sum of the dead shoot and the paddock litter. Okay, so let's go into our database, and what I'll do now is I'll just modify one of the existing ones. We've got one here called pasture. Now actually I'll do one of the other ones. I'll change old burnt cane. So previously when we wanted to edit cover, there was an option here called crop cover, which you could expand. It gave you a little bit of information. There's an option there called user defined or from data file. I'm going to choose the from data file option, and then it gives you a whole heap of new options that we can use to plug in the DairyMOD file. So in terms of source data, we can pick from the list. Now these are all the files that are in that measured time series part of the database. I'm going to click the bottom one. Once we do that, it will populate the menus for the green cover time series, the residue cover time series, and the root depth time series. So first of all, I'm going to connect paddock live shoot for the green cover. I'll do the root depth one now too because it's at the top, so paddock root. Now note that these are in tonnes per hectare, and we actually need to have, in the model, we need to have it represented as percent, or actually as a fraction. The residue cover, for this one I choose the one that's right down the bottom. So just scroll down to get it. I've got to find it. There's a lot of time series there. Now I haven't been selective about how I've imported data from DairyMOD. I thought it's better just to bring everything in, but if memory issues are going to be a problem, if it's going to be using too much memory, then we can selectively import different data. Now there's conversion factors here as well. We'll call this, I'll set these to 1 at the moment. Now because this is tonnes per hectare, what HowLeaky does is when it links to that data series, it actually divides all of the individual values in that time series by the maximum value. So it's returning each value as a percentile, and then we can scale that using this scaling factor here. I'll give you an example of this soon. So if I then go to the residue cover, I'll put a scaling factor of 1 in there. For root depth, we're scaling now to millimeters. So if we had a 30 centimeter root depth, I need to put in, for some pasture, I might rename this to, let's call it some pasture. Now I can actually link, now that's all done, and I can link that into a particular simulation. I'll choose this first one up the top. I'll create a new some pasture. I'll add in a new veg file. So you can do that. There's several ways to do that. I could have expanded this and selected some pasture from this menu. Instead, I've just clicked on the right-clicked on the symbol above. Okay. So if we go into the time series for some pasture, go into the time series outputs, and we can have a look at the crop cover and the residue cover. We can also turn on, now that the simulation runs from about 1900, but our time series only goes for 20 years. So if I turn on the cover again, so if I put on live shoot and crop cover, you'll see the similarities between the two. This is between these two, live shoot and crop cover, and the residue cover. Looks like I've got to put some titles. I haven't put a title in for that generated one, but you can see that they're very similar. Drops to 0 at the end here. One of the problems with this though is that you might need to set your start and end years, because when you go into your report and look at the transpiration, in fact in here it's averaging over all of the years, but we're only actually growing the crop for some of the years. So if we go and have a look at the soil water or total soil water, you can see that it's running over the full 100 years, whereas this is only running for 20 years. And that's about all I wanted to show you right now. I'll put a few more videos up for you to watch. Thanks very much.